That we will call the Tuesday, October 25th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. You have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Got a first? Got a second by Troy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Following the agenda, the minutes are there. If you look at them, and if there are no changes, I'd entertain a motion.
So, moved.
Nancy first?
Second.
Second by
Whatever.
Rick can be second.
Oh, okay, thank you. Your turn next time, Dan.
So which one are we going with? Are we going with Dan or Rick?
Nancy first, Rick second.
Okay.
Yep.
He's
All
going
right.
the next time there's a motion.
Okay, all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, old business. Is there any old business to bring forth? Hearing none, we'll go to new business and general manager's report. Rob.
All right, page 3 is the monthly and year-to-date financials for September. Left-hand side is the month of September, right-hand side is year-to-date. So for the month of September, we had 4 events, attendance of just over 40,000, compared to a budget of 8 events and 46,000. We had total event income of just about 337,000 compared to a budget of 255,000. Had indirect expenses of 443,000 compared to a budget of 393,000, so about 50,000 above budget there. But we had a net surplus for the month of November of 33,000 compared to a budget of 1,900. On the event side, concert with the Greta Van Fleet went through. We'd already run our 6 budgeted shows through, so that came through as an unbudgeted event. The NDSU side, with 2 NDSU football games above budget by about $15,000. Per caps were higher, budgeted attendance. The attendance number didn't quite meet what was in the budget for attendance, but still very strong and very good. The theater number you see there, as we talked about, that's running 2 budgeted theater shows that we had through. Again, when you budget 18 months out, decisions that you make towards the end of the year kind of don't get figured in. So as we've stopped doing the touring theater shows, and then 1 budgeted theater concert that did not occur, and I believe, as Susan and Zach mentioned last week, I think there's 1 more of those to go through that'll come through either in October or November. Miscellaneous convention, NDSU Fall Career Fair was above budget. They used a little bit more meeting space, and it's budgeted as a 3-day event. It was actually 1 public day. As Susan mentioned, she might change that. She probably won't be able to change that, because in talking to the Career and Counseling Center at NDSU, they maxed everything out and are now considering going back to a 2-day event, which obviously would increase the rent, but has ramifications on our side as well. As I was talking to Becky on some other possible calendar shifts. So I think it's a great thing. They said they had great employer turnout and students. On the expense side, labor was about $3,600 above budget, so pretty much consistent. Operations about 40,000 above, again, higher steam and electricity. Also concessions equipment, as we talked last month, concessions repair, and also some air handling units, as the building is 30 years old. Things break a little bit more often, so try to capitalize as much as we can, but some of the stuff just can't be done that way. And then always a good thing, concessions contracts were 7,000 above budget, but that's because we had more sales. Question on the month of September.
Who pays for the career fair? Is that NDSU?
NDSU, yeah. They do not use contract aid. The NDSU athletics uses all the contract aid, so it's outside. It's the typical 3 square foot, $3,000 rent for them to come through and use it. Year to date, then, about 273,000 people compared to a budget of 317,000. Total event income of just about 2,425,000 compared to a budget of just about 2.3 million. Expenses of 3,676,000 compared to a budget of 3,430,000. So we're currently at a net deficit of 17,000. That does not compare favorably to the $111,000 budgeted surplus, but given everything, I think when you look at operating expenses, which the vast majority of them are due to the increase in electricity, steam, building insurance, and repairs, being almost $250,000 above budget, being we've done our best to control. We can control to be only 128,000 behind right now. So,
I like those variances, just.
Yeah, I did.
yeah, I think we need to do the M zeros. It's all right. So yeah, any questions on any of the month September or year to date September?
All right.
Mr. Chair, the Finance Committee reviewed these this past Wednesday and approved them as presented. So at this time, I would move to accept the financials as presented to the FARGODOME Authority.
And we need a second, right?
Second.
So then, Nancy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And David?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Just to add to that, since you didn't have to approve this part, but as we talked a little bit and looking forward through to the end of the year, we're saying break even, or whatever Susan's really fancy word for it was. But break even is 50, 75 either side. So it all depends upon how different things break. Some playoff games, the 2 October NDSU games were pretty strong and just increasing. So we'll have that. We'll see how the Dakota Bowl turns out. 9 Minnesota high school football games, different things such as that, and some different catering projects coming in. So we're comfortable with where we're at. We're controlling what we can control. If Maroon 5 would not have canceled, it would have been better. But hey, that's life. If there are no other questions on that, moving forward, then looking at past and upcoming events since our last meeting, talked briefly about it, but we did have 2 NDSU football games, homecoming against Youngstown State, which was very well attended, and then the South Dakota State game on the 15th, which was essentially a sellout, standing room only, great crowd, great atmosphere, good concession sales. Then we had 3 days of youth football. Both FM Athletics came in for 2 of those days, as well as the group out of Carrington and Lisbon and that came in for some games too. And then just finished this past weekend with the Big One Arts and Craft Fair, and I think they were up 8 to 10% in attendance. So happy there. It was good to see more people coming back. I believe she had a waiting list for vendors, so things were going well there.
Good.
Any questions, comments on past events from board members? Moving forward then, turf came back out last night, and getting ready for NDSU's game against Illinois State this upcoming Saturday. Then we get into high school football. Next Thursday, Friday, 4 high school section finals for Minnesota on Thursday, 5 of them on Friday. They'll all be televised this year on WDAY Extra, so that'll be neat to see. 9 football games originating here from Gates Bank Field in FARGODOME. Take a little bit of time off, and then they're a week off come right back with the Dakota Bowl, 4 again statewide televised on WDAY, starting at 9 a.m. Friday the 11th. Sunday the 13th, the Gold Star Marching Band does their annual Bands of the Gridiron events. On Sunday the 13th, they kind of wrap up their showcase their band members and different bands and family kind of weekend for them as we head up into this regular season finale with NDSU hosting UND on Saturday, November 19th, another sold-out game. And I had word, haven't had a lot of stuff yet, but have heard from the Great Plains Food Bank that the Metro Student Council Foundations do sound like they're going to do Fill the Dome again. Bring that back in person for the 21st, 22nd of November, leading up to playoff games and the North Dakota Ag Expo, which is our next meeting. Questions on any past upcoming events? Okay, then just a reminder, and I forgot to say it last week, I was going to, getting into the end of November, Thanksgiving, so as a reminder, the November Finance and Building Committee meeting is actually going to be on Tuesday, November 22nd, here at noon, and then obviously the November Authority meeting stays as the same date and time scheduled, but that'll likely be in the at the admin conference table in the admin office, because this room will be booked with the Ag Show events going on. So, just a remembrance, so that Nancy's not out wandering around wondering where she's at. If nothing else, that would conclude my report.
My little notes that they send me do generally get me in the right spot.
All right.
Yeah. Working with me.
All right, moving on, item B, committee reports.
Committee reports. All right. We'll go to B1A, and that's the financials. Those have been accepted by the FDA, so we'll move on to project updates. And as we learned at the Finance Committee meeting, that the fire alarms are currently being tested, and the work is finalizing on that. The keyless entry project is nearing completion. So those are the projects that are in the queue as we speak. And then the last item was the escrow balance was reviewed by the Finance Committee. Heavy work done by the Finance and Building Committee on Tuesday, so that will conclude my report.
All right.
I would submit that for approval.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
All right. And we didn't have any additional items, so unless I hear anything else, we are adjourned.